you showed us, Omar? I think they were using this font called Roboto because I recognized it because I've used it before. So when you're looking at a font at the Google Fonts website, and there are a lot of them, I'm not going to scroll infinitely. I'm just going to pick one from the top of the hierarchy here. And it'll just be this one here, PT Sans. Over at the lower right corner, you have three options. You have See All Styles, you have Quick Use, and you have Pop Out, and you have Add to Collection. So See All Styles is the weights of that particular font, the different thicknesses and weights. The next one is seeing it in different sizes and contexts, or Quick Use. Essentially, if I was writing web page content right now, I could use these two pieces of HTML and CSS to integrate this right into my HTML or CSS by taking these pieces out and inserting them. But that is not the part that I'm doing right now. I want to actually be able to use this on my website. So here I have a bookmarker. Don't need that. And here I can do what's called add it to my collection. And now down here I have my collection area. And if I click on the little arrow, I can see it. Now, to download this and to use it, and I believe I am signed in as myself, I should be able to get this font and download it. So I'm going to go to the Choose page to select fonts. And I want to actually get this font to use in my site. So here we have check out more advanced techniques for using the fonts, and here is the font loader. So I'm clicking on the font loader. So this is about how to use this font with fonts from Typekit and or the GitHub repository. GitHub is a website where people can create accounts and share things with each other, which is extremely helpful. And then the last thing is I wanted to mention is how to actually download the font and use it within my product that I'm making in Illustrator. So I want to download my Google font. And this is the site at Digital Inspiration that is a really nice little step-by-step of how to do it. Other than websites, you may also use Google Fonts in your Office documents. There's no trick involved here because Google Fonts are open source, meaning free to download. And to do this, you go to the font using different tools such as HTT Track or Widget or wget, and the entire collection can be downloaded. Here, there's a nice little movie of how to do it. Sorry, this is just way too loud. Right, so you find your font. You can change the display by different types. Add to collection. And then download. this is Windows. I don't know if anyone's using Windows, but so if we jump back over to my page, or my Google Fonts page, and I'm going to go back to my font. And I should be able to see now my collection. I'm going to add my collection, and then I'm going to go to my collection, and from my collection, I want to choose, use, so I've now clicked on use, and my little download button here is hiding. Import, at import. All right, so here we go. We can use the web font loader It is not letting me load. So what I might want to do is actually, I'm going to copy this link and I'm going to use Chrome to do this. Since all right, I'm having a little non-helpful moment here where I'm not helping you at all. And I'm not getting my download button here. Odd. Or I'm going to pause for a moment here. Okay, so now I'm going to choose my choice and click the download button. Download the font families to your collection as a zip file. Sync Google Fonts to your desktop using Sky Fonts, or download all the font families including source file. I generally choose this zip file. And now it just downloaded the zip file. So far so good. You guys awake still? Doing great. You're doing great, people. All right, I know it's hard. And then I go show in Finder. And when my Finder pops up, I should see the item actually selected. There it is, Open Sans Zip. You guys with me? And I'll control click on that and open with Archive Utility. And now I have the Open Sans folder. And essentially, you pick the ones you want. If you double click, it's going to open it up and you can install the font. And there it is. Okay. So now when I go back into my web page, I'm going to toggle back over to Illustrator. I can select my text. Okay. Choose Open Font. O. Then Sans Bold. There it is, looking good. Okay. So thankfully we have this recorded so you can watch the steps again. The last thing I wanted to mention in this Illustrator file, now that you have an idea of what you're going to be doing to build your file, is a suggestion. And my suggestion pertains to creating screens that show what things are doing, specifically the menu. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create what looks like a drop-down menu box. And I'm going to do this again just using rectangles. You may not know exactly what size to make this when you start building it. I'm going to line this up. And I'm going to select both of these. And I'm going to make them at least into a group. Now they're one piece. I can change the color. Since they're one piece, I can change the color of them together. So I can make them a lighter gray, something like so, to show what this might look like when it pops down. A very important tip I can give you in terms of designing elements on your menu bars, such as this, is to type the longest thing first. So if the longest item in my menu is honeycombs, I think that's one word, Abigail. That's what I call myself when I talk to myself, for the people. Honeycombs for the people. That is, I have written down all of the words that I need in this navigation box, and the longest link I have is a thing called honeycombs for the people. So all the other type elements that would be in this menu item would have to be the same size as this to look sharp and good. So I'm going to make it the size I need it to be, knowing that it's the longest one. If it's not at the top, that's okay. You know, you can put it wherever it goes. Maybe it's over here. It's not the first one. And then you can duplicate this item as you need it to be. You know, maybe there's several things inside this box. Using Shift to select and moving this over. And maybe you want them to have more air between them. So I'm going to move this one down and select these others. And then the last thing I'll do before I change the text, once I know how many items that I have in there and that they're placed in the right place, is I'll go to the Align panel. And from the Align panel, I'm going to use Show Options and use Distribute Spacing, Vertical Aligning with the bottom. Now they're all equally spaced. That little button did that work for me. Okay. And then if I wanted this box to become shorter, I could click on it with the sub-selection tool, and I'm going to click right on the edge of the box. And using the arrow key, I'm just going to move it up till I'm happy with the position, and that's the menu. Then I will go through each of these items, and I would put the correct type element in here. Honey types by region. Not as long as honeycombs for the people, okay? Bee families and more, okay? Anytime you might want to show what something does, it's helpful to have more than one screen to do that. So in your portfolio, you might want to show one screen where we're actually looking at the page without this menu, and another page, another screen in your portfolio where this menu is showing. So by having this particular item, which I'm now selecting all the pieces of, and if you look in my menu, you can see all these elements right here. So far, so good. And I'm going to create a new layer here. So I'm going to create a brand new layer for that. And if you're watching here, you're going to notice that I'm going to take this blue dot, which represents all the items that are selected, and drop it up into this new layer so that I can save a JPEG or even a screenshot from my portfolio, one like this and one like that. Okay, you good? All right, so that's the Illustrator part of the demo. If you can, by next week, have all the boxes on your pages and all the fonts in the right place, you'll be in great shape, okay? I know that based on some of your layouts, you have a lot of little things. So it's extremely important to get all the boxes sized and in shape, in place, before you actually drop in the content. You'll be so much happier with yourself if you do it like this. Just boxes and then fill them in. Yes, let's try to get one home page or one landing page done by next week. Just boxes. It's all about the